CBS.
Something's up, Mac.
You missed the turn.
Mac, what's the rule?
No backseat driving during car chases.
A new MacGyver. Watch Friday or stream anytime on CBS.
Take me home.
You have a reputation for hunting monsters.
This is deep and dark, Clarice. Can you sleep? Or do moths wake you up?
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Billings police are investigating a shooting on the rims near the airport that sent one person to the hospital. It all happened a little before 5 this evening off of Highway 3 near Southview Drive in the Water Tower. Now, police have not released the age of the victim, but say it was a male who was shot. Paramedics took him to the hospital with what police are calling life-threatening injuries. No one's in custody, but there is a suspect, and earlier police tweeted that there is no danger to the public. Well, tonight authorities are asking for your help to find 2 people tied to 2 separate murders. The U.S. Marshals Service in Billings is seeking 26-year-old Lorenzo Harris as a person of interest. Harris is 5 feet 10 inches tall and has tattoos on his face. He's wanted for felony warrants as a person of interest in a homicide. If you have any information about Harris's whereabouts, you're asked to call the Marshals Service or Billings Police Dispatch. And tonight, a Dillon man has been charged in connection with a riot earlier this month at the U.S. Capitol building. MTN's John Amy went to Dillon, has the details.
A business owner here in Dillon has become the first person in Montana to be charged in connection with the January 6th storming of the U.S. Capitol. According to federal charging documents, 52-year-old Henry Munzer of Dillon faces charges of unlawful entry to restricted building or grounds and disorderly conduct. The affidavit alleges Munzer was among the protesters who forced their way into the U.S. Capitol building while Congress was verifying the Electoral College vote. The FBI alleges Munzer was seen on television news video inside the Capitol and also appeared in a YouTube video where he allegedly admitted to being inside the Capitol. Munzer was arrested on January 18th here in Dillon and detained in Missoula, where he appeared in federal district court there. Munzer, who is the owner of Dillon Appliance Repair Shop, painted a mural on his building last year, which espouses some strong political feelings and some conspiracy theories. The murals on his building certainly created a lot of conversation and controversy among citizens in Dillon.
I appreciate the fact that in the United States we have First Amendment rights and people can put anything they want on their own building, but it's a bad example for Dillon. I don't agree with it at all, and I'd like to see it gone.
Munzer was expected to be released from custody after his hearing Thursday. In Dillon, John Amy, MTN News.
Attempts to contact Munzer for comment about this case were unsuccessful. In his first full day in office, President Biden signed 10 executive orders aimed at jumpstarting his COVID-19 attack plan. That includes speeding up vaccinations and testing and the widespread use of masks. Natalie Brand reports from the Capitol.
Holding up his administration's nearly 200-page COVID response plan, President Biden declared all-out war on the virus that's killed more than 400,000 Americans.
This is a wartime undertaking.
The president is invoking the Defense Production Act to speed up manufacturing of everything from vaccines to syringes and PPE for healthcare workers.
To accelerate the making of everything that needs to protect, test, vaccinate, and take care of our people.
But he warned things will get worse before they get better.
We didn't get into this mess overnight. It's going to take months for us to turn things around.
As part of the effort, President Biden called on Americans to do their part.
To mask up for the first 100 days, the next 99 days.
He signed an executive order mandating mask wearing in airports, on planes, trains, and buses. The president also said FEMA will begin to create mass vaccine centers across the U.S., aiming for 100 by February.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Anthony Fauci returned to the White House briefing room Thursday, admitting it was sometimes difficult to speak his mind under the previous administration.
Let the science speak. It is somewhat of a liberating feeling.
Here on Capitol Hill, the Senate is expected to take a confirmation vote Friday morning on President Biden's defense secretary nominee, retired General Lloyd Austin.
The bill is passed.
Earlier, both the House and Senate approved a legally required waiver since Austin has been out of uniform less than 7 years. If confirmed, he would be the first African American to lead the Pentagon. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Also today, the Biden administration put a temporary halt on all new oil, gas, and coal leases on federal lands. The action, which reverses a previous order from President Donald Trump, received rave reviews from environmentalists but drew harsh criticism from Montana Senator Steve Daines, who said on Twitter, this is an outright attack on American energy and union jobs. Wyoming Senators Cynthia Lummis and John Barrasso also slammed that decision. The Department of Interior will now review the federal leasing program before moving forward. In a string of votes earlier today, Republicans on the Montana House Judiciary advanced several controversial bills on abortion and transgender issues. The panel approved bills that would ban abortions in Montana after 20 weeks of pregnancy and that greatly restrict use of abortion-inducing drugs. He also voted for a bill that says if a woman is considering an abortion, her physician must offer her the chance to see an ultrasound or listen to the heartbeat of the fetus. And the panel approved one last bill related to abortion to put a referendum on the November 2022 ballot that says a fetus born alive during an abortion is a legal person. Another bill passed by the panel bans transgender athletes at Montana schools and colleges from sports teams not aligned with their sex at birth. All bills passed on party line votes with Republicans in favor, except the last one, which was opposed by one Republican. Democratic opponents say some of the bills are unconstitutional and harmful to the state, but Republicans disagreed.
The bill also puts our economy at risk and opens us up to costly litigation. And a similar law was estimated to cost North Carolina $3.76 billion, that's billion, before they repealed their law.
Please remember, the constitutionality of something is subjective until it gets in front of the Supreme Court. So we have no idea how the courts can rule on things that are coming before us. All we can do is what we assert is correct, because all of us are interpreters of the Constitution as well.
Those 5 bills now head to the House floor, where they're expected to pass. The committee also plans to vote tomorrow on a bill that bars medical procedures for transgender youths. Also today, the Montana House gave initial approval to a bill to provide compensation for people who've been wrongly convicted and imprisoned. House Bill 92, sponsored by Democratic Representative Kathy Kelker of Billings, passed 93-7 in a preliminary vote. That bill would allow a wrongly convicted person to claim $60,000 for each year they were in prison, plus additional support like housing assistance. Some lawmakers voted for the bill despite concerns that someone could claim the compensation, then go on to sue the state. Supporters said they do not expect many exonerated people will file suit, and this program would be an easier option for them. The bill will now be heard in the House of Appropriations Committee. If the committee approves, it will return for a final vote on the House floor. Well, nationwide, human trafficking is a $2.5 to $3 billion industry. National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month helps to bring out that information. According to the local task force, the average age of a victim is 12 to 17 years old in the United States and 15 to 27 years old in Billings. The advocates say there's a misconception and stigma that victims are part of the problem.
Human trafficking is defined as using force, fraud, or coercion in order to obtain sex or work from an individual. So any vulnerabilities that exist between substance abuse or runaways or unstable housing, mental health concerns, things like that can be exploited to use somebody in a way that sort of just perpetuates a cycle for them to remain under.
Well, next week, the task force will show the film Shattered Dreams, Sex Trafficking in America. That will be available January 28th at 8 p.m. on the Human Trafficking Awareness in Yellowstone County Facebook page. All right, turning to Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh. It's Been some tough sledding for the area mountains this year, but we do finally have some snow headed their way, it looks like.
That's right. It's going to make the sledding a lot easier. Let's go ahead and take a look at radar this evening. You can see it's starting to sink southward, but basically on that line from Missoula down towards Billings, we're continuing to see some light snow showers. Here's a look around Red Lodge Mountain. This was actually closer to the golf course. If this is from earlier in the evening, you can see the snow coming down pretty well there. And I grabbed a shot from Bridger Bowl as well, where they're picking up some additional snowfall. Plus, we're also seeing some areas, this is right around Big Sky, in the community of Big Sky. You see the fresh snow on the ground and more on the way. We're also seeing some problems with slick conditions around the area. We'll talk about that and have rest of the forecast details coming at you in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Ed. Over the next few weeks, Montana legislators will turn their attention to the state budget. Much of Governor Greg Gianforte's proposed budget is geared toward drug and alcohol treatment inside and outside prison walls. Tonight, our Janelle Slade takes a closer look at where a good portion of that money will focus.
I, Greg Gianforte,
do solemnly swear that I...
Yellowstone County District Court Judge Mary Jane Nisley says she doesn't know why Governor Greg Gianforte requested her to deliver his oath of office.
It was nice to be asked. It was kind of a surprise.
But she does know they have a strong mutual interest.
What I know for certain is that the governor believes in recovery and alternatives to incarceration.
Since 2010, you have built a successful treatment court that helps people suffering with drug and alcohol addictions rebuild their lives and become productive members of our communities.
A personal passion for Judge Nisley, who presides over 2 of the current 5 treatment courts in Yellowstone County. The courts focus on sobriety, recovery, and future stability as an alternative to jail or even prison.
You know, it's a different model, and so it's designed to see them consistently and provide them accolades, incentives.
And their success is proven. Judge Nisley points to one study that shows 3 years after graduation, 96% of the highest risk felony drug and alcohol impaired graduates had no felony arrests.
So that's huge compared to traditional criminal justice stats with that population.
In 2018, I ran into somebody, and by the grace of God, I didn't kill anybody or myself.
Amanda Boyer was raised in Fort Belknap and is a veteran whose life has been filled with trauma. She's always felt alone.
500 days.
Today, after 2 solid years, she's nearing graduation with more than 500 confirmed days of sobriety, and says Judge Nisley has given her an incredible opportunity to change her life.
500 days! I don't think I've done anything consistent for 500 days.
It is not. This is not easy.
Constant drug tests, multiple groups and treatments, getting and holding down a job as a felon. These participants are held accountable as they find rides and fork out funds to help pay for the process. And not everyone can handle it.
This is rigorous. It's very rigorous. It's like boot camp on the ground.
I really had to attack that shame and really set boundaries.
There are currently more than 40 treatment courts across the state, but they're doing work well beyond their county borders.
We don't have the judicial resources and the judges to have a drug court in every single county.
Even pre-COVID, the courts reached out with telehealth, connecting like participants with like services and the right treatments. The pandemic has just pushed the program even further.
Hi guys. I know that we also are participating in a big teleservice project with the Center for Court Innovation to connect treatment courts and treatment court participants from more rural Montana areas where they haven't been able to have a full continuum of treatment.
The opposite of addiction is connection.
Both Boyer and Judge Nisley agree that it's the strong local, state, and federal drug court resources and connections that make this work.
Yes, you can do it, guys.
And the cost-benefit of that connection can be measured.
I've watched this money now for 20 years and kept track of this money. The cost of a participant going through drug court is approximately $5,000. When you look at the cost of incarceration and you recognize that nearly everyone gets out of incarceration at some point, and they have not had significant treatment while being incarcerated, the cost savings is astronomical.
When you invest in people, I think you invest in community.
We love these courts, and I think that's judges. The reason that we love them is, the recidivism is low. You're making a change, a lasting change for families, a lasting change for the participants.
After this program and all the stuff that it's given me back, I want to be able to give back to people so that they don't ever feel alone.
A cost savings while also saving lives. In Billings, Janelle Slade, MTN News.
Thank you, Janelle. Part of that funding will go to absorb 6 federally funded startup drug courts in which federal funding expires after this year. Now, the Gianforte Family Foundation has contributed to those startup programs in the past. Still to come on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2, the release of the COVID-19 vaccines has offered much hope, but they do come with a few side effects. We'll talk more about that coming up. And then a little later in sports, a city rivalry on the hardwood between the Bronx and the Bears. The high-flying highlights coming up in just a bit.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Montana health officials reporting another 6 deaths from COVID-19 since last night, bringing the state's total to 1,122. Gallatin County reported 2 of the deaths, while Custer, Glacier Valley, and Lewis and Clark counties all saw 1. Montana's total case count now more than 91,000 after another 347 cases today. 137 people remain hospitalized. Well, as counties advance COVID-19 vaccination phases, medical experts want to raise awareness on some of the side effects people might experience. Now, some of those include flu-like symptoms, aches and pains, fatigue, and other symptoms listed there on your screen. Not everyone experiences side effects, but doctors say if you do, keep in mind they're a sign your immune system is working and responding to the vaccine. Dr. Erica with St. Vincent Healthcare was a guest on Montana this morning, and from her personal experience shared side effects are a lot more common after the second injection.
With my personal experience, the second shot gave me kind of some achiness in my back. I worked the next day. I was a little more tired. And then I was okay by like the 36 hours later. My husband spiked a fever the night after his shot and to about 102, I think, and was really achy. Again, it lasted about, the fever went away pretty quick, but the achiness and fatigue and flu-like symptoms lasted about 36 hours.
Well, Dr. Erica says depending on the side effects, most mild to moderate cases can be eased with medications like Tylenol and Benadryl. However, anyone who has a serious allergic reaction to the first dose shouldn't get the second dose and should check with their doctor. All right, up next in weather, Ed says road conditions already starting to cause a few issues out there in some areas tonight, and that could continue on into your morning. Your full 7-day forecast coming up after the break.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with meteorologist Ed McIntosh.
Welcome back. We take a look. We're going to call this the Stockman Bank weather cam for tonight as we take a look down into the parking lot. You can notice some of the snow on some of the vehicles out there. Obviously, the plows haven't been through quite yet, but we'll expect those as we start getting later into the overnight hours of tonight. For the Billings area, this kind of snow is what we're expecting. Light areas of snow tonight, a little bit more closer into the mountain foothills. We're sitting at 27 right now at the airport, a north breeze at 6 miles an hour as we take a look at the view downtown. Thank you, Justin Hosa, for helping us out with that great shot. 32 was our high today, so below average for this time of the year, but we started off a little bit warmer than we typically would. Notice sunset now at 5:05 in the evening. Nothing to record officially at the airport as far as precipitation yet, but that little dusting is certainly around. And we've got a little bit of snow also falling at Big Sky. You can notice it's still less than 2 inches there, and we'll see areas of 1, 2, 3 inches of snow closer into the mountain foothills. Also grabbed a quick picture of some of the snow falling around Reed Point from the Montana Department of Transportation webcam. And there are some problems with travel once you start looking to these areas that are to the west of Billings. Columbus had a report of a slide off around there, and then out towards the Reed Point area, Big Timber, Livingston, out towards Bozeman, all the blue shaded areas, some potential for snow. We've already seen some that falls, melts, refreezes, and that's where the problems with the travel start to move in. Plus, we could have some areas of fog with some of this as we start getting into tomorrow morning. So from Great Falls to the south and west, we're looking at these areas of snow showers. That's going to continue through the evening, overnight hours. The accumulations, once you get east of Billings, pretty much we're going to be in the clear. In fact, that's the problem here as we take a look into the evening hours. It's more clear across the northern portion of the state, and the temperatures are dropping down into the teens in a lot of locations, especially chilly around Havre, Lewistown right now. Looking at 20s here once we get into southern Montana and northern Wyoming, where that push of clouds is still creating some of those snow showers. So most of the snow is going to concentrate in this area of southwest Montana. Colder air moving down from the north, so we're going to have a chillier start. Tomorrow morning will be mainly into the teens, even some single digits in northeastern Montana, and then 20s where the clouds will hold in a little bit more. But the snow showers ending overnight into early tomorrow morning. Temperatures will stay mainly in the mid-20s, mid-30s tomorrow afternoon across the region. And then by the time we start looking into Saturday, we're going to be watching this low pressure trough that's moving in from Oregon. And some moisture could scoot around and then continue to follow the jet stream into Wyoming. That may move into the Bighorn Mountains of northern Wyoming and southern Montana, and that's really our only other chance of picking up any kind of snow. So overnight, we'll look for those readings to stay mainly into the teens, single digits across areas of northeastern Montana, teens, 20s elsewhere. Snow showers through the late evening, overnight hours of tonight. A little bit could linger into tomorrow morning before this really starts to give up. And then tomorrow, looking at most of the highs, saying 25 to 35, a clear sky across areas of eastern Montana, a few lingering clouds perhaps from Billings southward, but we will see some breaks of sunshine, especially from Billings towards the north. For the rest of the region, here's how the snow is starting to stack up for us, looking at some light accumulations in these areas, especially around Butte, Bozeman, Livingston over towards Billings. It really looks like the amount of snow is going to be pretty marginal. We're only looking at probably at less than an inch total in the Billings area. And a lot of that, if it melts initially, then we could see some of those slick spots first thing in the morning. So the day planner heading into tomorrow, a chance of snow overnight. Then tomorrow, some breaks of sunshine, low 30s for a daytime high. Will likely be close to 21 for an overnight low tonight. Tomorrow, looking for the afternoon temperatures to be into the 30s by the time we're later into the afternoon, and a lot more 30s, even some low 40s to follow. We have more after this.
Basketball taking center stage tonight with a big matchup right here in Billings between two city teams looking to find some consistency this season. Here's Scott Breen with the highlights between the Bronx and the Bears.
Hey everybody, Senior and West, eager to get after it on this Thursday night crosstown style. Both teams, Bears and Bronx, trying to rebound from double-digit losses at the hands of Billings Skyview. Entertaining game. Bears down early. Sam Phillips for the lead. Got it. Back the other way. Here comes Senior. Zips it to Bubba Bergen, the rebounder from distance. Jackson Berkeley had another one of those nights in the first half. Glides to the basket. We're tied at 10. Time expiring in the quarter. Berkeley, strong layup to increase the lead. Second quarter, he was even hotter and could not miss. Another one for a 10-point Senior lead. Berkeley with 18 points in the first half. Junior Bergen goes to work, knifes in and one. Part of a 12-0 Senior run. Peyton Williams with a nice half for West. Turnaround jump shot falls. Third quarter now. Phillips for West hits another three. Bears within 6 into the fourth quarter. Now it gets interesting. Minute 32 left, still down 6. Watch this roll. Tegan Maloney three. Got it. West within 49-46. 46 seconds left. Senior had only scored 2 points in the fourth quarter, but they hit a few free throws to ice it. Mellow Pine comes up with some big fourth quarter plays, and the Bronx hold on. 53-48. They're still perfect at home.
Our goal is not to, be in close games, but when we can finish them out, that makes us real confident. Try to be better in the face of adversity, and we did that tonight.
Scott Breen, MTN Sports.
All right, thanks, Scott. And you can, as always, find all the scores from around the state at montanasports.com. We'll be right back.
We're certainly not looking for a lot of snow out of the system that's moving through tonight, but it could cause some travel concerns. First off, from the areas we've already seen, where we've seen some melting and then it refreezes again. But that could also, as the sky starts to clear out a bit, lead to some areas of patchy fog first thing in the morning as well. So temperatures drop down into the 20s first thing and start to clear out in the afternoon. Good news, the winds are light. Temperatures will be a little shy of average for this time of the year, staying in the low 30s tomorrow, and likely again we'll be looking at 30s on Saturday. Sunday, temperatures bound up just slightly, but that's just around average for this time of the year. So we're starting to see this shift overall, Russ, from the temperatures running warmer than average to at or cooler than average, but it doesn't look like we're going to get a whole lot of snow to go along with that cool down.
I never thought I'd say this, but I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of snow.
That's right, I would too.
Been a while. Thank you, Ed, and thank you for joining us. Hope you have a great night. We're back tomorrow morning starting at 5 a.m.